Hello everyone and welcome back to another review of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7. Today we're looking at Season 7, Episode 6, Adapt or Die. So, let me see here. Mac's parents were Chronicoms the entire time. That's kind of something I saw coming. But I didn't say anything about it last week because it was one of those, like, are they going to go in that direction? Are they not going to go in that direction? I don't really know, so I didn't bother saying anything about it last week. But I kind of had an inkling because it's just, if you're going through the trouble of getting, if you have the ability to change faces and stuff and steal faces and imitate people, and you have this situation where you want hostages to throw off your foes, then why not go all the way and, just replace them? And so that way you just hold, no matter how the situation goes, you always hold all the cards. That just makes sense. It seems like something the Chronicoms would do. And so, yeah, that's exactly what the Chronicoms did. So that was the fact that I saw that coming, though, did not take away from how well the scene was done, though, at the end when Mac had to ask his dad to show his arm. That was done super well. All that stuff was done really well. That moment where he had to throw his mom out of the Quinjet, and she tried to win him over. It's interesting, going back to what I was talking about last week, how they're just kind of throwing everything from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D's past into this last season, into these last few episodes. They're doing that again here because, I mean, it was done. It's done well, of course. I really like the twist, but it does feel similar to stuff they've done before with the LMDs in Season 4. So, I mean, this isn't necessarily uncharted territory that they're in. We've seen this before. So I mean, I could see some people complaining about that potentially, since this is something that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has done before. But it's one of those things, like, it totally makes sense for the plot. I don't think this is going to be something that happens again. So for this to be kind of a one-off in this episode, I think it worked really well. And I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem going forward, because thanks to Coulson, it seems like that the Chronicoms hunter ship got blowed the heck up. So we're not going to have regular Chronicoms anymore. They may not be able to steal faces from now on because they may be low on troops. That is one thing about this episode that I'll maybe critique, is that it wasn't exactly totally clear if the Chronicom threat has passed, because they blew up the ship with the hunters on it, but was that their only ship? Or did they even completely blow up the ship? Did they maybe just blow up the part of the ship that had the hunters in it? So, all the hunters are gone, but, the Chronicoms themselves are still running around. I don't know. That's something that wasn't necessarily made clear by the episode. But then the Zephyr 1 jumped again. Time jumped again to, judging by the preview for next week, 1982. So, yeah, and since the Zephyr can only jump when the Chronicoms jump, so how's that going to work? The beginning of the next episode is really going to have to do some legwork in the beginning to kind of explain the situation and how things are going on, because I don't think this episode made it completely clear how things were. It focused a little bit more on setting up that cliffhanger that Deke and Mac are now trapped in 1984, and the Zephyr has jumped again to who knows where. So, let's see here. Trying to think of things to talk about. Coulson and May had a fun conversation about how dying is Coulson's superpower, and how she's not going to bother getting attached to this Coulson, because it would be now the third time that she would have to mourn him, and she's not going to do that again, which I think is, it's kind of a morbidly funny thing, because at this point, they're just fully embracing the Coulson dies and comes back thing. Now he's a robot. He can do that in Infinity at this point. And that it kind of gets into the trouble with death in just fiction in general. It's like death is, it's superhero quote unquote nonsense. This is superhero stuff. The science fiction, the rules don't, don't always apply. Do whatever you need to do to make the story interesting, but still, there's certain tropes and certain ways of going about things that can take your story down a couple pegs. And cheating death is one of those. Death is very important in fiction. I stand by that. It's one of the problems I have with Transformers, to be honest. I think that killing Optimus Prime off in like every continuity is a crutch, and every continuity is just kind of expected to do that because that's what happens. Optimus Prime dies, he comes back to life, we continue onward. And he's like, sometimes it can be used to great effect, but but thanks to G1, every time he dies, we know he's coming back. So for once, I would like a Transformers continuity where they kill off Optimus Prime and it's a big noble sacrifice and he stays dead, and then maybe they have to go forward from there without Optimus. It's like, that would be super interesting. I mean, I suppose the end of IDW did that, but then IDW ended, so it's not like we have. It wasn't like there was one more issue after that to see how everyone adjusted to life after Optimus Prime or whatever. Thanks to the '86 movie and then the third season of G1 bringing Optimus back, that's the precedent that has been set. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has kind of wandered into that territory where at this point death doesn't matter to Coulson, at least, because he can blow up and then come back. In one way, that is a nifty plot device to have, that you can now sacrifice Coulson, it seems like, as many times as possible, and then they'll just rebuild him another robot body, or he'll turn into an AI or something like that, and he'll be their Jarvis from here on out or something like that. That's a nifty plot device, but at the same time, it does run the risk of becoming a crutch. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with that going forward the rest of the season. But that's not even limited to Coulson. They also sort of kind of did that with May at the end of the last season and the beginning of this season, where it seemed like she was on death's door, but then they pulled a total, to Project Tahiti on her, essentially, but it wasn't actually Project Tahiti. But this more of what the cover story of what Project Tahiti was back in season 1, where Coulson said he was dead for 38 seconds or whatever, and then the medics managed to revive him, and then Fury sent him to Tahiti. Of course, that was never actually what happened. That's just what Coulson was told and what had been programmed into his brain. But, that's kind of exactly what happened with May, where she was dead for maybe 38 seconds, and they put her in that healing pod thing, and now she's fine. So, again, she's cheated death. Technically speaking, she did die, but she didn't, because now she's fine. Sort of, maybe not really, because now she's an empath anyway. So I'm very curious to what they're going to be doing with the whole death and resurrection thing. Let's see here. Moving on to Simmons. So she has a thing in her brain. She's not a chronocom, which I suppose was maybe the easy answer there, but she actually has a mental implant that is keeping her from remembering where Fitz is. And this would be something that I would just hand wave and go, okay, whatever, that's fine. It's whatever, and not really care. But I actually like this because Simmons said specifically that she designed it herself, and she described it as being adorable, like it's her child or pet or something. I think that's really funny. That's very Simmons. That's just the right kind of quirky Fitzsimmons stuff that I love when it comes to those two characters. And so that's why I really like this idea, because it's like, her name is, I can't remember what she called it, but her name is blah blah blah, and she's an implant in my head, and I designed her, and she's adorable. It's like, I thought that was really fun. I thought that was really, really funny. So and then of course Deke, best intentions, zapped Enoch with the defibrillator, knocked him out. Poor Enoch. He just keeps getting put through the ringer this season. He gets left behind for 30 years or something like that. And then now he gets zapped by Deke almost immediately after he rejoins the team, because of course we're waiting a week in between these episodes, but all this stuff is happening very, very quickly, so it's actually pretty funny. So let's see here, more Patrick Warburton. That was fun. I enjoyed that. Patrick Warburton is always appreciated. He had that little moment where he wakes up and he goes, "I believe you." It's like that. That's great. Patrick Warburton is always fun to watch. It was funny how he wasn't thrilled with his hologram self at the base. It's not. I'm eager now to go and rewatch that stuff from season 5, and where they do have the hologram at the base, leading them around about lockdown being in place and having a better idea of who this guy is as a character. Um, I honestly I would not mind a spin-off show. It's not going to happen, but I would not mind a spin-off show set in the 70s following around General Stoner, I think is his name, as portrayed by Patrick Warburton. That would be super fun. I'd love that. That would be great. And then, of course, there's Daisy and Sousa. Sousa is now 100% on board with the team. He is where he needs to be, as he said. Because I guess now Daisy is kind of a new something. It's something that he cares for, and it's something that he feels responsible. Daisy is someone he feels responsible for now after she's been experimented on by Baby Malik. I can't remember his name. It was the previously dead one. It's funny how he didn't necessarily feel like he had a place in the world, and he was trying to find what his place in the world was. And now that he's found the Inhumans, he knows what his place in the world is, because he technically in the original timeline he didn't have a place in the world because he got sent to another one and used as a husk for Hive to live in. So that's funny. We didn't see Gideon Malik again. No Freddie Malik resurrection this time. He's definitely dead. They kind of botched the beginning. My sister actually questioned. She's like, "What was in the envelope from last episode?" I said it was a picture of Mac's parents. Again, they didn't. That was kind of going back to last episode. My review last episode. That was kind of sloppy editing. They should have shown a better picture of Mac's parents, of Yo-Yo looking at that picture and then showing it on the monitor, because that left some people confused, obviously, my sister being one of those. So yeah, they didn't show it again this episode, so they should have done a better job with that. This show does such a good job telling its story, but then there's some little things that they mess up on that I question, that some people, that I just like, how do you let that slip through the cracks? But last season you're trying to get your story told. I kind of understand. So that's pretty much, that's kind of covering the big things of the episode. I'm not really sure there's too much else. Okay, so I suppose one of the things with this episode is that the main Chronicom guy is officially dead. That's been chasing them for a little while. He's had like 2 or 3 different faces at this point, and I guess he's gone for good now. Maybe. So someone shot him. Is Stoner or May or someone shot him at the very end there as he was fighting with Mac. So I guess he's gone for good. So I'm eager to see where next episode takes us, because it's going to be set in the 80s. I'm getting Short Circuit vibes from the killer robots in the preview. It looks like Johnny 5 is alive. I'm going to laugh so hard if they actually make a reference to that. I'm not sure if Short Circuit was out at the time, but still Mac could make that reference. It's like, it's like Short Circuit up in here or something like that. And then everyone else is like, what's Short Circuit? Because it maybe hadn't come out yet. And then Deke is from a alternate future. So I'm interested to see where they take next episode, because at this point it seems kind of like the Chronicom threat is over with, but maybe there's a lot of questions. So I'll be eager to see how they answer those questions next episode. So yeah. So I would guess I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.